Alright folks, thankfully I haven't had a chance to work on this Bates engine any. This is the one that I'd gotten from Windsor, North Carolina. And believe it or not, it's probably my nicest, most complete engine. But it looks like it's going to be after I get the frick set on the foundation that I get this one up here, which ain't going to be long. But you know, when you sit around and think about these things, you want to find out something about them. I want to pull this head and see what the cylinder looks like. The piston's going to be a long ways toward the top, not all the way up, but part of the way, and that's going to tell us real quick how much water got in this thing from sitting all these years. So we're going to get this cover off first and see if we can get this head pulled. Alright, and like I said, I don't need to be doing this, but it's just something that I want to do, want to check out. I think number 117, this thing may have been sold at an auction at one time, but anyway, let's see what happens. Strange. Well, I don't know what that black stuff is, but a lot of water and a lot of oil come out. That's strange. Nasty. All right. Not good. Alright folks, this is not very good. This is probably the worst engine that I've ever had. Yeah, this is pretty rough. Oh Lord, pitted bad. Oh, you know that thing's stuck tight as can be. Yeah, I kind of had a feeling. I wasn't sure, but this is going to be the worst one I've seen, but this is from water intake. So this thing had to have the valve open or something to get water in it like this. I mean, there's no way around it. But it's dry as can be, so it's not like it's been any time recent. For all I know, I mean, it could have been underwater. you know, this thing come from the coast and there's a lot of flooding up that way. As far as I can tell, the valve is off. So, well, it's off now. It may not have been off before. But anyway, that's definitely not good news. But it can be sleeved or it can be bored. I've seen one of them, steam engine like this, that they actually bored the cylinder and then they actually took the piston and built it up and turned it back down, built it up with brass, brazed it up, and so it definitely could be done. But this ain't looking good at all. Yeah, I wasn't wanting that. We may pull a couple of these bearings off the caps on the bottom and just look and see how bad it looks in them valves. One of my worries would be if it happened to, didn't mean to have you zoomed in. One of my worries would be if it happened to have froze and cracked somewhere. That wouldn't be good, that would be terrible, but why there was a bunch of oil in there, I don't know. Makes no sense to me. And then it's dry as a bone inside there. So, now, I mean, who's to say it wouldn't clean up, but I mean, it probably wouldn't. You know, right here it's down stepped anyway, and then it steps up, but I mean, I feel the pits. There's no way around it. It would have to be bored, and that could be done on a horizontal boring mill, or I could make something to bore it. But let's see if we can pull these valves off the bottom, or at least one off this side on the bottom, on the back, the exhaust valve, and just see what it looks like. It's the way it goes. Okay, folks, so the valves don't, I mean, they don't look the greatest. You can tell there was water in there, but the valves are loose in there because Bates, one thing about it, I did notice on my other Bates engine, as you can see, there's no tight fit here. And I actually was able to move this one up and down by prying it. And so they would come out. I'm sure it wouldn't be too bad to clean them up and re-hone the cylinder, or re-hone the ports on the valves. But like I said, it's back to the cylinder, getting it apart. I would probably take these bolts out and cut the rod, because the rod, it's going to need replaced first, but second, to actually turn that piston and get that rod out of there is going to be all but impossible. And you know, the rod's pitted up, so we make new rods just about every time. Anyway, so that gives me an idea where we're at with this thing, and we might as well pull this other one off real quick. It don't take a second, and then we can stick it back on. Alright, so I think before I put anything back together, I'm going to go get some of my spray. I've got transmission fluid, acetone mixed, and we're going to put some spray on it, probably pull the other valve off, try to spray some in there, and then we're going to stick the head back on. So definitely not as good as I hope, but you know, it's a shot in the dark when you do this. And so I got 3 Corliss that are good and one that's rough. You know, I consider myself lucky with that, because you know, it could be 4 bad Corliss, even 2 bad Corliss. You know, Russian roulette, and I just happened to get the bullet this time, but that's okay. Still a complete engine that's well worth fixing, and you know, we'll I'm real optimistic on stuff like this. I don't, you know, I wish for the best, but I always expect the worst. So let me get this thing oiled up and back together. All right, folks, we got it all oiled up with transmission fluid and acetone mix, 50-50, and went ahead and done everything. Linkages, sprayed it all up inside. These are kind of loose. I think, you know, the valves will come out real good. I'm not going to pull anything out yet. All right, folks, there we go, all back together until we get time to actually get into it. mean, I can only guess at how it got in there. We've had quite a bit of rain and it was dry as a bone in there, so I know it's not open now, but evidently that valve was left open, and don't know for how long. I don't know what they had in that cylinder head, but of course now I gotta go change pants. When I put that head back on, I of course got it all over me. And I went ahead and oiled up all the valve linkage and everything. I don't know when I'll be able to get to this thing, but sometimes no news is good news. And this probably would have been one of them situations, but that's okay. We know we got what we're going to get ourselves into when we get ready to get started on it. So shouldn't be too darn long. Getting ready to do the foundation for the brake engine. Once that's done, we'll definitely be jumping on this thing. So, all right.